Hi, 6th grade. Grammar Day. I'm here to go over some of the grammar pages that you already worked on and to talk to you about what we are doing next. So please get your grammar workbooks out. We're going to go over pages 87 and 88, and then we're going to move on, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you're going to be doing on pages 89 and 90. Okay? So let's look at sentence patterns. Now, this lesson, these pages were a review of all the sentence patterns that we've done so far. So you were looking for action verbs and linking verbs, the subject, the predicate noun, predicate adjective, direct object, indirect object, everything kind of all combined. If you find that you're missing some things, then you're going to need to go back and work on those particular lessons that had to do with the part that you're struggling with. If what you're struggling with is simply finding the subject and the verb of the sentence, then we're going to have to go back and find you some things to help you with that, because that is crucial. And we kind of assume that everybody, by the time they get to 6th grade, can find the subject and the verb of a sentence. But if you're still struggling with that, I want you to reach out to me, because that is important, and you can't do any of these other things until you figure that out. So if you're having a hard time simply finding the correct subject and the correct verb, then please reach out to me on email, and I will try to find some videos and some worksheets and things for you to practice that before you move on to this, because this is impossible if you can't find the subject and the verb. Grammar builds just like math. You learn one skill, and then you add a new skill, and then you add a new skill. So you have to keep up on things, and if you find that you're really lost on something, then go back and work on it. Now, if you're super lost and you're spending a lot of time going back, then I need you to reach out to me on that too, because I don't want you to fall behind on your lessons and lose points because you're going back and doing extra work in a certain area. So if, in fact, you are going back and you're doing a lot of extra work, let me know, because you shouldn't have to. I don't want you to lose points because you're going back and you're stuck on linking verbs, or you're stuck on indirect and direct objects. And if you are, and then I can also try and help find maybe some other videos for you, or maybe we can do a video chat or something so that I can help you get back on track. Okay. So if you find that you're like totally like floundering, please reach out to me. I want to help you. Okay. So that being said, let's look at page 87. We were putting parentheses around prepositional phrases, finding the subject, the verb, and deciding if it has a direct object, indirect object, predicate adjective, predicate noun. I might have gone over this with you guys already. I'm starting to forget what I've done from one video to the next. So I'm going to go over these with you, but not in as much detail as I'll go over the other page, because I think I might have already told you guys this one. Okay, so if this is review and you already have these all written down because I went over it in last video, go ahead and skip this section. You have my permission. All right, so number 1, we travel to our games. Subject we, verb travel to our games is a prepositional phrase in parentheses. Number 2, during football season is your prepositional phrase in parentheses. Subject is school, plays is the verb, games is the direct object. So your sentence pattern on the line for that should be SVDO. The sentence pattern for number 1 was just SV. Number 3, subject is players, the verb is gave, indirect object families, direct object tickets, and for the game is a prepositional phrase. So on the line, you would write SVIODO. Number 4, in our league is a prepositional phrase. Bulldogs is the subject, are is the linking verb, and team is the predicate noun. So in the blank, you would write SLVPN. Number 5, coach is the subject, is a linking verb, famous is predicate adjective, and for his coaching abilities is a prepositional phrase. So your sentence pattern is SLVPA. Now, how can you tell if a verb is an action verb or a transient verb, or Well, action verbs can actually be intransient or transient depending on whether they take an object. But how can you tell if it's an action verb or a linking verb? The main difference is that the linking verb doesn't show action. It actually connects things. It's almost like a conjunction, but not quite. It connects things, and it doesn't show any action. You can't imagine somebody wasing or ising. But you can imagine somebody thinking or walking or laughing. So if it's something that a person actually does or can do, it's action. If it's not something a person actually can do, then it's a linker. And then it's usually linking the subject to something else. Okay? Hopefully that clears things up, helps a little bit. All right, so let's look at page 88. Now, what you're doing is you're filling the circle next to the correct answer. So, number 1, a sentence that has a word that answers the question whom or what about a verb has a direct object. If the word that answers whom or what is the direct object. Number 2, a sentence with a linking verb and a word after that verb that describes the subject has a predicate adjective. The clue is the describing. That lets us know that they're looking for adjective. Number 3, a sentence that has a word that answers the question to whom or to what between the verb and the direct object probably has an indirect object. And your clues there were the question to whom or to what, and also the fact that it goes between the subject and the direct object. Number 4, a sentence with a linking verb and a word after that verb that renames the subject probably has a predicate noun. So the linking verb lets us know it's a predicate noun or predicate adjective, but the fact that it renames the subject means that it's going to be another noun, so it has to be a predicate noun. Remember, adjectives describe. Nouns are person, place, thing, feeling, or idea. Number 5, a word that describes a noun in a sentence is usually an adjective. If the word is describing the noun, it's an adjective. Okay? So now let's look. Now this part, you're putting parentheses around the prepositional phrases. You're labeling the simple subject, the linking verbs, direct objects, indirect objects, predicate nouns, and predicate adjectives. No sentence has all of those things. They all have some of them. And then you are going to label the sentence pattern in the blank. So number 6, the Downtown Athletic Club of New York City presents the Heisman Memorial Trophy. First, of New York City is a prepositional phrase. Of is a preposition. Then the subject is the Downtown Athletic Club. So you could mark that whole, it's a proper noun, the whole thing counts. The verb is presents. Is present action or linking? It's an action. It's something that the subject actually does. So is there a word that answers the question whom or what? Presents whom or presents what? Well, we have an answer to presents what because they present the Heisman Memorial Trophy. So that is the direct object. Is there an answer that says to whom or to what they're presenting the trophy? No. So there's just a direct object. So your sentence pattern for that one is SVDO. Number 7, John W. Heisman was an exceptional football player. There's no prepositional phrases in this one. The subject is John W. Heisman. The verb is was. Does was show any kind of action? No, you can't do a was. So was is a linker. And if it's a linker, it has to be linking John W. Heisman to something. So what is it linking it to? Is linking him to player. Now, exceptional and football are part of that, but they don't count because the main word that it's being linked to is player. And player is a person, which makes it a noun, a predicate noun. So your sentence pattern for that one is subject, linking verb, predicate noun. Number 8, the athletic club presents J. Berwanger the first trophy in 1935. First of all, I see in, that's a preposition, 1935. In 1935 is a prepositional phrase. Put parentheses around that. The athletic club is our subject again. Presented is a verb. Is presented something that's an action? Absolutely. So presented what? What did they present? Trophy. So trophy is our direct object. Now, do we have an answer to whom or for whom? Presented the trophy, to Joe Berwanger. So Joe Berwanger is the indirect object. So your sentence pattern for that one is going to be SVIODO. Number 9, he played for Chicago. For Chicago is a prepositional phrase. For is a preposition. Subject is he, verb is played. Is played an action? Yes. Do we have an action, played what or whom? No. So there's no direct object or anything. So your sentence pattern is simply SV. Number 10, award-winning Herschel Walker was also famous. No prepositional phrases in this one. I don't see any prepositions. Then the subject is going to be Herschel Walker. That's our subject. That's a proper noun. It's a person. Was is the verb. That's a linking verb. It doesn't show any action, so it has to be linking him to something. What's it linking him to? Famous. Famous is not a person, place, thing, or idea. Fame is, but not famous. So it's an adjective. So it's a predicate adjective. Subject, linking verb, predicate adjective. Now for the apply and write, you were told to write several sentences. Now several is more than 2. Should have been 3, 4, maybe even 5 sentences, which probably doesn't fit in that line, but I hope you did the best you could. Given for one of your favorite organizational sports. An award. So you're making up an award, or it could be an award that they actually do give, like most valuable player or something like that. Now, I have noticed that some of you are skipping the apply and write. The apply and write is not optional. It's never been optional in my class. We always do the apply and write. I will start taking off points if you don't do it. So you're going to lose a point on the assignment if you don't do the apply and write. You have to do the apply and write every single time. If you don't have to do the apply and write, I will tell you. If it's something that like you need something special to do. But general rule, if there's an apply and write, you have to do it. It must be done. It's always been a requirement. Don't cheat. The apply and write is the most important part of the grammar assignment, because the reason we learn grammar is so that we can write better. So I want you guys to practice writing, learning what you learned in the grammar, so you're actually using these things. It helps it stick. It's going to help you be a better writer. Okay? Got it? Good. All right, so now let's look at your lesson for today, which is pages 89 and 90. This is more sentence pattern practice. This is kind of building on what we did in the last lesson. So what you're looking for here, and it looks like it's focusing, it gives you a little bit of a review about sentence patterns. Mostly the review itself is focusing on the subject, verb, direct object. And here's the thing. Some sentences give you adverbs, and they stick them in between the subject, like the helping verb, and the other part of the verb. Not is one of the most common ones that you'll see. Excuse me, my eyes itchy. Not is never a verb itself. It's an adverb. It's always an adverb. It describes the verb, and it actually kind of turns the verb into the opposite of what it is. But it's not the verb itself. Another common one that you can run into is often, rarely, sometimes, probably. Words like this, these are adverbs that describe the verb, and sometimes when you were writing sentences, they get kind of thrown in there in a tricky spot, but they are not part of the verb. So the examples we have in the blue box: players will often lift weights. Players is the subject. Often is an adverb. Will is a helping verb, and lift is the actual main verb. Then we have the next one, they may even run before sunrise. Well, before sunrise is a prepositional phrase because before is a preposition. The subject is they. May run is your verb phrase. Even is an adverb. May is a helper. Run is the actual main verb. The next example they gave you is the coach will probably give Aaron a reward. Coach is the subject. Will give is the verb, give being the main verb. Probably is an adjective. Now not an adjective, an adverb. What they didn't make you find, what they didn't show you is what the direct object and indirect object are. The coach will give what? An award. Award is the direct object. Give the award to whom? Aaron. So Aaron is the indirect object. So in this guided practice, you're going to put parentheses around the prepositional phrases. If you forget your prepositions and you've been struggling with this part, go back and watch our preposition videos. I can link you some if you're having troubles. Just tell me in an email that you need me to send you the preposition song again so you can practice your preposition jingle bells. Or the bazillions. I like that one. That's always my favorite. Okay. Excuse me. They want you to underline the simple subject once and the complete verb twice. So this is the helping verb and the main verb. Then label any direct objects or indirect objects or predicate adjectives or predicate nouns, okay? And then your sentence pattern is written on the blank. So there's a lot to do in this one, but you can do it because this is building upon other things that we have done. And if this is too hard for you, then you need to go back and work on whatever it is that you're struggling with. I know that's kind of hard, but we're doing a lot of independent learning right now, and you need to learn to be responsible for your own education. So you know you're struggling. You know if you're struggling, and you don't have to be embarrassed because some people, grammar comes easier than other people. It's always come easy to me. But like my husband struggles with it even still to this day. In fact, sometimes I have to stop myself from correcting his grammar because he makes mistakes, and it's not kind for me to correct him, especially in public. So sometimes I have to just keep it in. Anyways, because not everybody's really good at grammar, but you want to get as good at it as you possibly can because it helps you communicate effectively and it will help you in the workforce. In the workforce. I'm serious. When you go for an interview, if you can speak well and intelligently, you're more likely to get the job. It's just the way it is. All right. And then, of course, a lot of you will end up going to college or doing jobs that require you to write emails, memos, reports, articles, and things like that. And you need to know this grammar, okay? But even if you're not doing a job, even if you're going to go work at McDonald's, if you go to an interview and you cannot speak properly, they're less likely to hire you. It's been proven, okay? So we need to learn these things. All right. Number one, that was my little soapbox speech. My cousin has often refereed at our neighborhood football games. At is a preposition. And it goes all the way, that prepositional phrase goes all the way to games, which is the object of the preposition. So at our neighborhood football games is in parentheses. Cousin is the subject. The verb is going to be has refereed. So you underline that twice and then circle often because often is an adverb. And that one, we don't have room for a direct object or anything. So, excuse me. So it's a subject verb. Now, if instead of saying at our neighborhood football games, it simply said our neighborhood football games and that preposition wasn't there, then games would be the direct object. But since that preposition is there, games is not the direct object. It's the object of the preposition. Number 3, 13-year-olds may not referee games in most states. In is a preposition. So in most states is a prepositional phrase. Put that in parentheses. Subject is 13-year-olds. May not referee. May and referee are the verb. Not is an adverb. It's always an adverb. So circle not, underline may referee. What are they refereeing? Games. That's a direct object. So your sentence pattern for that one is subject, verb, direct object. I hope you're kind of getting the hang of it at this point. Number 3, Caleb is one of the referees for our next football game. Of is a preposition. It always is. So of the referee is a prepositional phrase. For is also a preposition. So for our next football game is a prepositional phrase. Put that in parentheses. Caleb is the subject. Is the verb. It's a linking verb. It doesn't show any action. So we're looking for a predicate noun or a predicate adjective, which is one. That's a noun. It's a thing. So label that predicate noun. Your sentence pattern is subject, linking verb, predicate noun. Number 4, Alicia will probably give Emma her old referee uniform. I don't see any prepositions in that sentence. Alicia is the subject. Will give is the verb, so underline both will and give, and probably is an adverb, so you're going to circle that. What is she going to give? She's going to give uniform. So uniform is direct object. To whom or to what does she give the uniform? To Emma. So Emma is indirect object. Subject, so your sentence pattern is SVIODO. Last one, number 5. Emma seems excited about her job. About is a preposition, so about her job goes in parentheses. Emma is the subject, seems is the verb, and in this it's a linking verb. What is it linking Emma to? Excited. And excited is an adjective, so it's a predicate adjective. So in the line, you're going to write SLVPA. That's your sentence pattern. All right? So now you are going to complete page 90. 1 through 10 is the same thing we just did together. And then do the apply and write. You have to write, what does it say? One sentence. So you're writing one sentence about your favorite sport using a helping verb, and then they want you to stick an adverb in there. So it's a little bit of practice for you. And the reason why we do these things is just to make our writing more sophisticated. So I hope that you're doing well and that you get to go out yesterday, enjoy the sun, or today. The weather's, it's kind of funny because we're all social distancing and we're having one of the nicest Aprils and Marches ever, like weather-wise. It's been really beautiful, but still chilly, but that's okay. I'll take it as long as we get to see the sun. And I hope you're doing well. And don't be afraid to reach out to me through email if you're struggling, because I will try my best to help you. Okay? Have a nice day.